What's going on? I'm confused. This is episode 119, but you're the ring card girl. Now I'm the ring card boy.
Yeah.
Somehow it doesn't have the same effect. Ring card boy sounds a little ill-gotten. I don't know. But this is episode 119, Stacey.
Nice.
How are you?
I'm good. The weather here is getting really nice. It's down into the 70s, high 60s. So
lovely.
So I spend a lot of time outside.
Is it officially fall yet?
Well, the leaves aren't really changing yet. We got that'll happen like in November around here. So
okay. I got you.
Month. Yeah.
We're getting a little bit of change here. Not too much. Probably by the end of October, it'll be a little more steeped in fall foliage. Say that beautiful. 5 times
fast. Full foliage. But no, the anywhere in that whole northeast corner of foliage during that time is so beautiful.
Yeah, it really is. And there's some beautiful drives along 81, 95, the Schuylkill. There's some really great locations where it's absolutely breathtakingly beautiful. You see some of the rolling hills. Right. So yeah, anybody in the Northeast, go check it out. Don't let it go to waste. Hey, listen, episode 119, that brings to mind episode 19.
19, yes.
Who was our guest on episode
Our
19?
Dear friend, Mr. Tony DeGennaro was episode 19, and he here he is meeting Mr. Stallone.
There you go.
With his beautiful family and the brand new baby, Vinny.
Absolutely.
So
absolutely.
Yo, episode 119 of the Rocky Files. That is wild. I remember sitting at this table over here and being a guest on episode 19 like it was yesterday. I had the same amount of hair too. So anyway, congrats to you guys on 119 episodes. Easily the best Rocky podcast. You guys, I hope, go for another at least 119. As far as an update, biggest update is I got a 5th kid now, Vinny. And then the other update is this picture here. It has been a lifelong dream to meet Sylvester Stallone. I mean, lifelong dream. And we finally did it. It was the most amazing thing. Through total freak luck and with the help of my good friend Karina, Sly ended up following us on Instagram and we kind of got to know him and then it led to us meeting him. So I can't really have a better update. Literally everything we, were hoping for, came true. So very, very lucky, very fortunate, very blessed. We don't take it for granted. And, so things are great here in Philly, in D Janeiro land. And, to another 119 episodes of the Rocky Files. Keep punching, Rocky community.
There's something that I would tell Tony. I would give him a little bit of advice. I would suggest that Tony starts his own line of energy drinks because he has such energy.
He does.
It's really catching. Really. Yes. I mean, he's like, I don't know, like either Wile E. Coyote or he's like the Tasmanian devil. He really is fired up. And he and I go back and forth fairly often on messaging. On Instagram, and it's always a big like I never get a message from him like, hi Mike,
right?
It's always, hey Mike, thanks so much for reaching out, this is great, what's happening?
Yes,
Tony, I love you always have great energy. All our best from the Rocky Files to you, my friend, and your family.
Love them, and you're right, I do love his energy, and so does Sly, and Sly follows them. And his page, so he's over there.
Big deal.
What, Sly Stallone Philadelphia? I'll put it up here, but that's how you can follow Tony D. He's just lovely, and his family is so sweet. And
speaking of 19, what was going on in 2019?
2019, we got Last Blood was released. Hold on, if I can find the picture. Boom, there it is.
Look at that.
So 2019, Mr. Stallone in Rambo Last Blood, which I loved because there's nothing more delicious than everyone who deserves it getting it.
Well, I'll tell you what, the last 15 minutes of this movie is really, really probably one of my favorite kill scenes. It's like Jason Voorhees meets Macaulay Culkin in Home Alone because that underground scene in the tunnels.
Awesome.
I mean, I thought Rambo 4 was one of Rambo's most bloodiest war ever movies, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think this one goes to the next level on it. I mean,
It's
really
gruesome. It's really
it is.
gruesome. Yeah.
And more than anything else,
But satisfying.
Very satisfying. The other thing, like, who would have thought 1982 First Blood comes out, and now you have in 2019 Rambo Last Blood. Like, this is just amazing. And I know that Sly had several concepts in mind. I'm not exactly sure where he sits on it right now, but we all thought that Rambo maybe had died in the rocking chair at the end from his wounds. But I know Sly had said something to me about it, and he had said, no, he thought maybe Rambo goes to an Indian reservation just in the hills where he gets returned back to fair health. And I thought that could be interesting. But I mean, would he ever come back with another Rambo? I don't know. I mean, it's a tough one. I don't exactly know how he feels about it. I'm sure part of him would always love to do a Rambo, but maybe he feels it was left on an open ending. Maybe that's how he'd go out. What do you think?
I think it leaves him the opportunity and the time to decide.
Yeah.
And you know what I'm saying? It leaves it open enough that if he wants to, he can. And if he doesn't want to, it's still a great ending, just leaving it as it is. Maybe he's undecided and that's why he left it that way.
I would love to see either some type of like, I'm a big fan of streaming, and I would love to see Sly do some type of a Rambo thing for streaming. I mean, it doesn't have to be a 2-hour movie. It could, maybe it's an hour movie, or maybe it's a 50-minute thing, just a little insert, where he wouldn't have to devote so much of his time going overseas. He could put together, I would think, he's so creative and smart. He could put together something that he could do it, I don't know, somewhere here in the States that he wouldn't have to go overseas. But
well, I mean, the way Cobra Kai went, I mean, that's totally wildly successful. There's no reason it wouldn't be equally as successful. And speaking of Rambo, I just want to show our Joanne here. She got to
lovely Hope. Joanne. There she is.
Got to Hope, British Columbia, for I think she goes there annually for their Rambo Day.
She does.
And so thank you, Joanne, for sending those things to us. It's so cool to see. And you had actually had an idea, the Hope, British Columbia, travel advisor. What's the guy?
Tourism Center.
Tourism Center. Yes.
Brian McKinney used to work at the Tourism Center.
Okay.
I don't know what happened. I don't think he wanted to leave. I haven't asked him what happened, but he put a post up about a month or 2 months ago saying that his time is completed at the as the leader of the tourism industry in Hope, British Columbia, and that he is moving on with his duties in life. But then I was following the chain on his Facebook, and a lot of people are like, Brian, what's happening? Where are you going? And he alluded that there was some type of nefarious thing that went on, that he didn't really want to leave. Maybe I was reading too much into it. So if that is the case, I feel bad for him. But Brian was a standout guy. I mean, he knew all about the Rambo tours there, the walking tours that they had. So, I mean, to me, I think if they pushed him out, which I'm not saying they did, but if they did, they shouldn't have done that, because, Brian was
wonderful.
Jack of all trades out there. He really, really was.
Yeah, Joanne, thank you for sending all those great pictures. Always love your updated Rambo stuff. Awesome.
Always a joy from her.
Okay, so here's a request from Jessica Lumia, aka Jessica Morelli. When she was
one of my favorite people
in the whole wide world. This little girl, she's just so sweet. She is pregnant. Her and her husband are expecting their first baby, and so it is affecting her ability to get to Rocky Run. Okay, I don't know if she can't fly or it's too close to her due date, so she's asking for help from anyone who's going to be there. There's her packet and someone from her family or a friend, but there's a few packets that need to be picked up, and she is asking that you reach out to her. I'll put her Instagram label here, and reach out to her to get those mailed to her. She'll pay for everything, but she needs help getting those packets picked up.
I would get them myself, but I've got tours going, 2 and 3 tours a day right through. So I can't even guarantee that I could be there. I didn't want to put that out there because I wouldn't want to let her down if I can't get there. So yeah, if anybody can help out our friend, Jess is probably one of the, I've had the privilege of spending some time with her and her family. And of all the Rocky fans, she's one of the kindest and sweetest. So if anyone listening could do her a solid, please contact her. Stacy, you'll put up her contact or whatever.
Yep.
Okay, thanks.
I'll put it up right here. I'll put it up again. Then this right here, can I just say, and I posted this and you liked it, and I'm so grateful. What a perfect concept. And I said in the post, who agrees with me? Rocky and Michael are one and the same. And this is such a beautiful sketch. And last week we featured George here. He had done a sketch of me, which about threw me over. I couldn't even believe it. This is George. And what a perfect concept of half you, half Rocky. That is accurate.
It's accurate, but could you imagine if this was real life? This would really, there would be some serious domination of my brain. I think Mike would get swallowed up and it would be all Rocky. It'd be like Two-Face, you know, like Harvey Dent from the Batman character. I don't know if you know who Harvey Dent is.
I don't.
From the comic books. He was the district attorney in Gotham City. And
I
don't know, the Riddler, the Joker, somebody does something to him that scars half of his face. So half of his face is normal, and the other half is like a hollowed out skull, and you can see the fibrous muscles and all that. Two-Face Harvey Dent. So but this is a good Two-Face.
Yes, this is two sides of yourself. And it was one and the same thing. As soon as I saw it, I'm like, perfect. So thank you, George, for
thank you very much. And before we move on to our guys, I have one shout out I want to do for Sean O'Donnell and Irene Graydon.
Yeah.
They we have, not only do we have a lot of things in common, but we also share similar music tastes. And AC/DC is here we go.
Nice.
AC/DC is one of my favorite groups. It's all over my iPod, and they had gone to an AC/DC concert a few weeks back, and they were kind enough to get me 2 shirts from there that fit perfectly. So I promised them I would get one on here so I could just thank them and let them know what it means to me. And it does mean a great deal. So I love you guys to death. You know that. And yeah, we'll be talking soon.
Yes, and I just spoke to them on Saturday. It was like for an hour and a half. It
really?
was so nice. The time went by like this. So
how they doing?
They're great.
Good.
Just catching up with them, and they're just diving into healthy eating and supplementation, and they're really taking charge of their some of their health choices.
Yeah, of course.
I'm happy about that. I'm proud of them. So
good to hear.
Anyhow, so we got a guest.
We have a guest. That's awesome. Can we have Barbara go down the hall and bring our guest in, please?
Yes, we will.
Barbara's still with us?
Yeah, she is.
Okay.
She went to HR. She submitted her complaint,
issue.
When we
so we had to give her a raise and a new position.
Yeah, and we ironed it out, but she has decided to stay, thank God, because I don't know how we'd function without her.
Well, Barbara's the best. Barbara is the best. Well, I forget what she looks like, but I'm sure she still looks wonderful.
So here
Barbara, please bring our guest in.
Barbara, here he is, Kevin Marcum. How are you?
Hey, I'm good. How are you guys doing?
Very good. Hey, look at you, all set up. Great wall, my friend. Love it. Looks good.
I appreciate it. Yeah, he's kind of scattered throughout my whole house, but this is like my main area. Yeah, my wife's kind of adjusting more and more to the idea of having Sylvester Stallone's face kind of in place of our wedding photos and stuff.
Yeah. So let's just start this off openly and honestly. I had a similar issue 36 years ago. I was trying to sneak pictures of Stallone around the apartment soon I lived in, and I would be getting a side glance of saying,
yeah,
okay, well, one is okay. One is okay. And then
and then 1,000.
and then you have 1,000.
Nice.
And so I'm downstairs in the basement. I'm not even above ground any longer. Okay. Right. So are you still above ground at least?
I'm still above ground. I've got my own space. So downstairs is off limits to me. I couldn't, but she's got this little area that has all her decorations and stuff that she has for holidays and whatnot.
Okay.
So I kind of sneak in there this it's like a silver Rocky, the statue.
Sure.
It's a so
the pewter one?
The pewter one, right.
Yeah.
So he kind of goes in there. So, she'll have her Christmas decorations or Halloween decorations, and he's a part of that. So I said, that's all I ask is one thing.
That's not a bad ask.
No.
It's
okay.
a compromise.
Because Sue has to live with multiple personalities. So that's a big one.
Poor Sue.
Anyways, Kevin, so great to have you here.
Appreciate it.
What is it? You're very welcome. What is it about the character of Rocky that inspires you, that you just absolutely are here to talk about? What is it?
I mean, he's been probably the biggest part of my entire life, starting back from when I was a child. I remember I was either 5 or 6 years old. It was before the 5th movie, and I remember my mother was watching it, and her room was across the hall. We were like in a 900 square foot house. It was tiny. So her room was right across the hall. I could hear things. And I remember I just kept hearing this music playing. It was those montages. So I went in there and she was watching Rocky IV. And it was, during the training scene. And I just was enamored by him. I saw him doing those crunches things. And I'll never forget it. It just blew my mind. So, I watched the whole thing. And from that point on, I was hooked to it. There's this, I have this shirt right here. So my mom had this shirt and she gave it to me when I was a kid. You can see the little holes in it.
Very rare throwback. Very rare.
I kept it all these years, because I would wear this everywhere I went. So, I kind of just got hooked on it. And when I was raised by my mother and grandmother, my father was in the picture, but I would see him on a Sunday, or there was times where, he'd call, I'm tired, I can't make it. So I would always say, okay, well, I'd go to my room and I'd put Rocky on. So he was always something that I could turn to when there was nothing else around. He was always something. It was like my comfort place. You know what I mean? That,
of course,
if I had that going on, nothing really else around me kind of mattered. So,
yeah. You know what? We hear that a lot. We've heard that a lot from people whose fathers kind of came in and out, that Rocky did and Sly did feel like that father figure.
Yeah, absolutely.
Filled that hole. That's so beautiful.
It's what I do for my daughter now. So I have a 10-year-old.
Good parenting.
Yeah.
Yes.
And so she's watched every one of them.
Good.
And it's amazing. So like yesterday, for example, I was watching them and she was on her iPad doing her thing and she'd hear the music playing and she'd look up, the iPad would go away. And then she'd just watch the whole movie from beginning to end. I'm like, got her.
Yes.
Nice.
She's hooked. So that's
That's
cool.
good. Getting the iPad, getting them to put down their device. That's powerful. That's a big deal.
Rocky wins.
Rocky wins.
That's true.
I'll take it.
Hey, you got to you sent me some pictures from Experience With. So you got to
nice.
You got to get in the room with them.
Yeah, I did.
You did, yeah. And so you got this picture. So tell us about that night. We all know how that sort of didn't quite work out, but you were wonderful about it. You're like, you know what?
Yeah.
I got to be in the same room with him. I got to see him. Tell us your experience.
So my wife and I went to LA and we were, walking around all day. We did the Hollywood thing. We went to go eat. I remember all day long, just absolutely nervous. Didn't know what I was going to say, how I was going to react, if I was going to be like sweating. I didn't know anything. So I remember we got there and there was a lot of people, we're all sharing the same feeling. So, you meet a lot of people and they're telling you their stories. We're telling our stories. And it was just awesome being surrounded by so many people that are just captivated by Rocky, Stallone, Rambo, all the things that, because, like where I'm from, I'm kind of a one-off. There's not too many people where I'm at that can talk about this thing so passionately and love it so much. So being around all those people, my wife and I had a great time. Listening to him speak it was crazy. It was surreal seeing him 20 feet away. Somebody I've idolized since my childhood. Just 20 feet away. It was crazy. And then at the end of the night, of course, it was time to line up for photos. We lined up and then they said he left. It kind of got crazy. So the ride home was quiet. My wife and I were kind of I know she was upset more for me, but I thought about it. I was like, man, I'm lucky enough to even be there. I'm lucky enough to even experience that kind of thing. Here I am with my wife in California having a good time. I think everything happens for a reason. Maybe I would have said something silly or done something, or my photo would have, I don't know. There's some reason, but I don't hold any ill will against tonight. I had a good time.
Well, you know, it's just to, in case anybody doesn't know what Kevin and Stacy are talking about, there was an event promoter who kind of dropped the ball, and Sly didn't know about it, and he had been overbooked by hundreds of people, and it was just something that was a very uncomfortable evening for everyone at the top, and communication had broken down, and I felt bad, obviously, for a lot of people. But I think you handled it quite beautifully. To feel the way that you did, and to walk away with a gracious feel, and not to be disappointed or somewhat angry. I knew some people that were really gutted about it, and they had a very, very difficult time. I'm thrilled that you feel the way you feel about it. It's good. It's really good.
Yeah, I mean, I heard a lot of stories of people being upset and all that stuff, but I mean, it just wasn't for me. You know, I was in the same room with them, so I mean, that was cool.
Sure.
I mean, it was an experience that I would have never had. I mean, I'm never going to be that close to him before. I mean, it's never been that way before or after. So I mean, that was a lifetime experience, just seeing them.
That's true. I get it.
Finding the positive in anything is an important life skill. So
yeah, I learned that, absolutely.
You have beautiful pictures from Philadelphia. Wanted to show off some of these.
Yeah, absolutely.
This
Me
is
and my
great.
daughter. As she's growing up, she's almost 11 now. So
what's her name?
Her name's Caitlin.
Caitlin, gotcha.
And that's my mother and I.
Gotcha.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Very nice.
Yeah.
So no surprise, I bet you can figure out what my favorite part of your story was with your wife.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And the whole Rocky Adrian influence there.
Yes.
Didn't know if you would like to talk about that.
Yeah, sure. So my wife and I, we got together around early 2006, and we had a pretty solid relationship. You know, bought a house, do all the stuff that a couple's supposed to do, and got married. And my first engagement wasn't that great. I mean, she'll be the first to tell you. I came home with a Zales bag in my hand, and she's like, "Is that my ring?" I'm like, "Yeah, you want it?" She's like, "Yeah, there you go." So it was horrible. So then we got married, and then we had a child, and I was kind of in a phase of, you know, hanging out with the buddies, drinking, you know, doing bad, you know, things that just weren't healthy for me. And she wanted to have a child. And I thought, okay, well, that's a good idea. So let's have a child. And, you know, when she told me she was pregnant, I remember telling myself, you know, I've got 9 months to clean up. I've got 8 months to clean up. I've got 5 months to clean up, 4 months to clean up. Then the day came, you know, my daughter was born, everything was great, but, you know, I was in a dark place. You know, I was abusing, you know, alcohol and pharmaceuticals, and I just wasn't the same person that she married, wasn't the same person that she knew for a long time. And I mean, even I knew that if I kept going this way, I was going to ruin it. And the ironic thing is I was becoming like my father, that, you know, now here I'm going to be an absent guy, you know, so everything that I didn't want, you know. So she ended up saying, well, this is enough. I'm done. Your mistakes, your choices I've got to, you know, look out for the betterment of her and my daughter. So
yeah.
So at that point, I remember one day I went to a hotel room, and you know, we're in the process of divorce. I remember sitting there, and I was on the bed and I was watching TV, and what came on? Rocky. And so I was like, oh man. So I started watching it, and just kind of hearing the things he would say were kind of a reminder of everything that I've kind of like betrayed. So I remember thinking like stuff, you know, my wife and I are done. There's just nothing I can do there, but I've got my daughter, and I've got to be the man that she needs to be, the father that I didn't have, the father I need to be. So I started applying certain things through the Rocky, you know, you know, I remember from the first movie where he's sitting on the bed and he's telling Adrian that, doesn't matter if he wins, you know, he just wants to make it through, and knowing that he's standing at the end, so he's just not another bum from the neighborhood. And that's not what I want to be, just another bum from my neighborhood. So, I mean, I just started applying things, and as things went on, you know, I'm 10 years sober next month.
Congratulations.
I appreciate it.
Nice.
You know? And my daughter, you know, my wife and I were only separated for about 6 months. I mean, she started seeing, I mean, everything was done. I mean, I was just complete 180, got back to the person I was supposed to be. And I, like I said, in my life daily, I applied these Rocky steps. I mean, the things that I learned, the things that I see in the movies, the things that I've always heard. And I mean, it just gets me through each day. And one day, so how I reward myself was every year I'd go through a complete calendar year, making all the right decisions, doing all the right things. And at the end of the year, I go to Philly, run the Rocky steps, hands in the air, success. I made it, right? I won.
Nice.
Totally.
Another year goes by, same. That's where all those pictures come from. So you see my daughter through the years of getting older. So I wanted to, get remarried to. I mean, I love this woman. She, she stood by me through some crazy times. So I took her to Philly, got on the Rocky steps by the fountain up at the very top, sat there, and we were kind of just chatting it up about the future, what could be and stuff, and got on my knee and proposed like you're supposed to do. And it's the way she deserved it. She accepted it. And, we got married and here we are today. My daughter sees that spot when we watch the movie and she'll say, hey, that's where your mom got engaged. I'm like, yeah, right there. So, so she'll have that as time goes on. I go, when I pass, she watches Rocky with her kids. She'll say, there's where mom and dad got engaged. So I thought that was
love
cool.
that.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that's cool.
We got some pictures, so I just wanted to show.
There it is. Yeah.
I'm assuming this is that.
That was it. That was it.
Nice.
Yeah,
So nice.
And I always take a buddy of mine. He's, he's in Rocky, not quite as hard as I am, but I take him up there every now and then. That's our favorite place right there.
This is so nice. Here we are. Pictures.
Reenactment. Reenactment. I love it.
Oh, these are a little out of order.
Oh, that's when you went when there was that horrible art.
Horrible. Yes.
I remember if Paulie could talk. Art on the Rocky steps is more stupid. I hated that.
I did too.
What was it? Oh my God.
It was this stupid sculptor, this artist who had no skills. There was 12 of these things. Yeah, it's this rusted metal that was all at the top. They look like soldiers from down on the street when you're looking up. And it was supposed to be some kind of living art or I forget. I read about it and it was the dumbest thing in the world.
It looked like Minecraft soldiers.
Yeah,
right.
They dug up the top of the steps. They put a whole trench in to put this in. Then they had to repair it. It was
oh my gosh,
stupid.
Really?
Yeah.
How do you feel about it, Mike?
Yeah, nobody consults me about this. No one consulted me.
Oh, it was horrible. I remember walking up because I go year after year, and I walked up the stairs that year, and I saw that, and I was just, "What is this?
What the heck?"
I mean,
yeah.
Horrible. I mean, it's just a complete eyeyesore.
Complete.
So I'm glad it's gone.
I'm glad they got
you and me both.
Yeah, when they got rid of it, I was so glad.
So your wife witnessing? I mean, she witnessed the transformation.
She did.
So what does she say now? Like, I know when you guys were first together, one picture of Stallone or Rocky would go up. Like, watching your transformation with the influence of Rocky, what does she say about Rocky now?
Well, I mean, she's a big Rocky fan as well. I mean, and the transformation she saw, she says that, she knew it was always there. I just needed to reach in and find a way to pull it out.
Yeah.
And, being that Rocky was the way that I did that, I mean, she's very grateful. I mean, the first time when we first met, I asked her, I said, have you ever seen the Rocky movies? She's like, no. I was like, really? I said, well, that's a deal breaker. You have to watch.
How'd you even go on a second date?
I don't know, man. Well,
she seems like a lovely lady. Don't get me wrong. I'm just saying that's a big deal. Never to see. Did she have like parents who kept her in a cave or something?
Yeah, she's the Disney parents, kind of,
Oh,
you know what I mean?
Oh,
so a lot of magic carpets and and all that kind of.
I understand.
Beating the beast and stuff. So I get the flu one day, and I said, I don't feel good. Will you put Rocky on? Watch Rocky for me. So I fell asleep literally all day, and she watched all 5. It was before Balboa came out. So she watched literally all 5 back to back to back to back to back to back.
Nice.
So I was like, that's awesome. But, when she started seeing the things that changed in me, she could just kind of see the principles that I put towards myself, about, I mean, like he says, I mean, my favorite scene from Rocky Balboa was not just when he's talking to his son about it's not about how hard you can get hit, but when he's in the ring and he's telling it to himself. I mean, that's one thing. You can hear advice and you can get advice and you can give advice, which I do to my daughter, but hearing him in the ring when he just took a big punch, it goes completely silent. And he's say, what do you say? What did I say to the kid? It's not about her to get hit. You know, that's just kind of how I live every single day, just being able to, and she sees that, you know, so I think that's why she allows so much Rocky memorabilia through her house.
If it helps you find your center, if it helps you find your gravity, if it's a bit of a North Star for you, I can't see how anyone would ever say, no, you need this. I get it. This is something that completes you as an individual. So sure, it's a good, but there are limits. I understand that. There are limits. But you said something very, very interesting, and it's something that doesn't get enough attention. When Rocky speaks to himself, exactly what you said. What was it you said to the kid? You know, about how hard you can hit and all that. And then he tells himself, get up. This is what we all say to ourselves all the time. Now, it may not be in a fight. It may be a day at work. It may be in traffic to calm down and so on. But what I love is that we hear Rocky doing the very same thing we do, because, you know, life can be overbearing at times. It can be very, very tough. And so when we hear our idols say this, Rocky Balboa, it seems to resonate. It was very emotional when I heard that in Balboa. Incredibly emotional moment.
Yeah, no, I agree.
That's human nature too. I mean, I'm guilty of, I can hand out advice all day, and then and you don't take your own advice, and you've really got to be accountable to yourself.
It's easy for me to just, you know, like, what does it say? Do as I say, not as I do, kind of thing. But you know, that's so having that one clip there, you know, and then just hearing him talk to himself, I think that's what kind of plays through my head on a daily basis, is that, you know, even somebody as great and as high up as Rocky, you know, he has to tell himself to battle through his situation, you know.
Sure.
Yeah. Tell us about these two very cool pictures. This is awesome.
So that was in a wax museum in San Antonio in Texas. That was like at least 15 years ago. That was a long time ago. And you're not supposed to get behind those ropes. I was like, I'm standing next to Rocky. I have to do it. And that one was in LA for the Rocky event. So before we went to the Rocky event, we went to the wax museum down there on Hollywood Boulevard, and I saw that. I was like, well, you know, I did get to meet Rocky that trip. There you go.
There you go.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
That is a good one. That's pretty good.
That's a real good one. And then I see this here.
So that was my groom's cake at my wedding.
Nice.
We had the big, nice, you know, 3-tiered cake that you get at weddings and whatnot. But the groom's cake, she said, what do you want? I was like, man, I have the perfect idea. We took it to the cake designer. I said, can you make a ring? She's like, a boxing ring? I said, absolutely. So that's what she came up with. I gave her the design, the logo, everything I wanted from Rocky 3, and she came out.
Is that whole thing edible?
The whole
even
thing.
Even the ropes?
Yeah, the ropes were some kind of like
licorice or something, maybe
something like that. Yeah, I mean, because I was like, wow, the whole thing was edible.
Wow,
it was red velvet.
I love that.
It was nice.
Red velvet, was it?
Yeah, it was nice.
That's a good
Absolutely.
cake.
Yeah,
that's good cake.
That's very cool. Kevin, what do you do for work?
I'm a lighting designer in Austin. So I work with custom home builders that are building new homes that need to design their lighting. So I'll get with the architects and we'll do a complete layout of, you know, like recessed downlights, decorative fixtures, chandeliers, that sort of things. Meet with the buyers that come in there, and we kind of just design one room at a time of how they want their place to lay out. You know, what's the best aesthetically, the best task lighting, the best, you know, ambient lighting, that sort of thing. So
oh, good.
That's
so
what I do.
All my instructions on lighting, you could probably have taught me.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I've been doing it for quite some time now. Yeah.
Oh, nice. Excellent.
So when it comes to the Rocky movies, do you have a favorite movie that's dominant over the others, or is it across the board equally loved?
When I was a kid, it was 4, but as I grew up, it's a toss between the first one and Balboa. I mean, I can go either way for different reasons. I mean,
I'm with you.
You know, so, I mean, sometimes, I mean, I watched the first one, and it's just flawless to me. The ending when, you know, he's Adrian's, I mean, it's just a flawless movie. Agreed. And then I put Balboa in, and I feel the exact same way. So I'm just like, it's hard to choose.
It depends on where we are in our day or our mental.
Right.
Yeah, it depends.
Yeah, but those two come number 1, and then I would say after that I would go 3, 2, and then 5.
Gotcha. I gotcha.
Yeah.
Very
I
cool.
mean, 2 of those. I mean, that's a hard one.
2
1
is
and
one
2
of
are
the.
kind of
I love 2. It's one of the most underrated sequels of all time for
It
a
is.
movie. I love it.
It is.
Who's the director? I always forget his name. I'm so terrible.
John Avildsen?
Yeah.
I'm sorry, not the director of Rocky 2. I mean the director that says it's the most perfect sequel of all time.
Quentin
Tarantino. Thank you.
Yeah.
He said that in an interview. That was very interesting to listen to him.
Yeah, I would agree.
Say why. Yeah.
Yeah, I would wholeheartedly agree. Do you have a favorite moment of any of the Rockies? Like one moment that, gun to your head, you'd say, favorite moment.
The ending of the first one.
Nice.
When it's over with and he's just doesn't care about anything, just wants to get Adrian down there. I mean, that to me, I mean, that's just what it's all about. So
I gotcha.
Just seeing that, that's flawless to me.
Was there like a Rocky Adrian scene? You and your wife are separated, and was there a Rocky and Adrian scene that made you go, that's what I want. That's what I.
In 3, when he's on the beach and he's going through his tough time, and she kind of snaps him out of it, let him know that, when he says that he's afraid and she's just saying that she's afraid too, and just how she can relate to him and stuff like that, and kind of levels him out, gets him back where he needs to be so he can just keep going forward. And that's kind of how my wife does me. She's that balance for me. I could be over here, and she kind of always brings me right back. So yeah, I think that scene with them on the beach and the third one is probably my favorite scene between the two of them.
Yeah. Talia said that in an interview too. She said Adrian always asked Rocky to be present. I'm not quite sure of the exact quote, but asked him to be present, asked him to be honest and be conscious in the moment. And she knew that he wasn't admitting something and she had to get him there.
Yeah.
She knew what it was.
Yeah.
She knew darn well what it was, but she had to get him to arrive there. So yeah, that's wonderful. I'm glad that your wife has that same influence on you. It's very important.
Yeah, she knows how to, because the way my mind works, it's just like it's cranking all the time. And sometimes it just kind of gets a lot of whack. So she's got to come and, level me out. So, I mean, I was watching the 5th one yesterday, and that scene where he's in the street after Tommy Gunn speeds off, and she kind of has to. I mean, I've had those same conversations where, I just get so, not lately, but at the time you get so down on yourself that, I've worked so hard and this is where I'm at now. Just, another bum from the neighborhood. And she's just, you're not, she sees something in him that he's not seeing in himself. And that's kind of how my wife is. She's always seen something in me that I might not see in myself, or that I might forget, or I just ignore. And she's just always been there. She's, always been the best support to, I don't like mentioning these movies, but those Creed movies,
I'm sorry, I didn't understand. What did you say?
I don't like, those
what
Creed
word?
movies.
What disgusting curse word did you just say?
Sorry,
it's okay.
I was gonna number it out. Like, what was that number you put the other day? Like 5.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I have it written down somewhere how I did that.
Yeah, I was.
I know.
But there's a scene in Rocky 2 where he tells Adonis, when he's talking about Adrian, that she makes me better than I deserve to be.
Right.
And that's how I, that's a perfect quote.
I would agree.
That's it for those movies.
Anything that Rocky says is, of course, written by Sly. So that to me is okay to talk about and discuss.
Yeah.
But that also, Mike, that answers your question. Like, how could you even go out on a second date with her? And it's like you were picking up Adrian qualities before she even knew about Rocky, right?
Yeah.
And we just had to catch her up. So, and you did that.
So
what is her name?
Leave it to Stacy to figure. What's that?
Her name's Lauren.
Lauren. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Good name.
Yes.
Good name.
Yeah, she's on the Rocky train. My daughter will go to bed around 9:30. She said, "Well, you want to watch a movie or something?" Well, yeah, sure. What do you like watching? She's like, "I don't know. What do you want to watch?" Well, let's go Rocky 2. Okay, let's do Rocky 2. And I said, all right, let's go 3. All right, So,
she's a 3. Good, because I love Rocky.
So yeah,
3.
we'll watch.
Nice, my kind of girl. Nice. Lauren, have to connect with her.
I love that.
She's invested. I mean, she goes to Philly. Like I said, Philly every year, and that's, we were at the Sly Stallone shop that they have down there at the bottom of the stairs.
Nice, yeah.
She walks in there and she sees these pillows. She's like, "Ooh, I like these pillows." I was like, "Buy them. We could have those on our couch."
Sure.
She's, so she's whether she wants to admit it or not, I think she's right there as an equal fan. So
it starts with throw pillows to creep on the first floor. And then it goes a big Afghan with Stallone's head on it, like that's over Stacy's head.
Yes.
Or, it's a little bit. Then you start getting, here's the Rocky pancake maker. That's in the cabinet. Oh, we'll bring that out with the logo. It's little by little. You'll get there.
Yeah.
I'm getting there. I'm working it.
Listen, before we keep going, I want to ask you about the shorts in the background.
Nice.
How do you have them in the frames? Or do you have them pinned, or is it the weight of the glass compressing it, holding it flat?
Okay, so there's these like little it's adhesive where it's non-damaging adhesive.
Okay.
So I've got it stuck to the back of the shorts, and then it's from there it sticks to the back of the mat that's on there.
Okay.
I didn't want to I didn't want to pinhole them and all that stuff.
Right.
So they're put up there with like adhesive, and it worked out pretty well.
Yeah, I like that. I've been thinking the last couple of months, I have the shorts in my overstock room over there, and I have nowhere to put them. They're just hanging on hangers. So I just realized, I think I know where I'm going to put them. I'm going to put them on this black cement wall that I have. But I'm always trying to figure out how to get them hung. So when I saw them, I'm like, maybe I'll just ask and see, how you have yours up.
I've seen at Hobby Lobby, they have the shadow boxes too.
They do, but the problem with the shadow boxes is that because my room is starting to get a little bit narrower, I had to go and do a stupid. I mean, who has the Darth Vader in their?
Yeah, it's cool, man.
It's cool, it is, but did I need it? No. But I always wanted one. So that took up a lot of real estate in the corner.
Right.
So I don't have room for any shadow boxes. That was my first go-to, but. He gave me an idea, Kevin, you gave me a good idea with the, with that I think I could work around that on this wall over here.
Yeah. Like this, this is pretty much my right. Like you can't see it in this corner over here. I've got a screen worn Stallone outfit from Creed 2 that I bought with a signed fedora. So
nice.
We walk in, he's always sending more of my Rambo side over here. But I mean, I've got,
you got a Rambo side too.
I got a Rambo side. I got to have a Rambo side, got to have a Rambo.
Well,
I love that.
Sly's got a Rambo side.
That's for sure.
Yeah.
And then in my office I've got the figures, all
Oh, do you really?
I have to have them. Yeah, every time when they first came out, I didn't buy them all, and I regret not doing that.
Yeah, right.
Because now you try to find them, they're crazy. But I've managed to get almost all of them. So they're in my office on my bookshelf, and if I see something rock, you have to buy it. It's just
nice. Send me pictures.
Definitely.
Sure. Definitely will do.
Stacy, any pictures we missed so far before I kind of go into my two questions I always love to ask?
No, we got them all. Actually, maybe just this one.
Oh,
right here.
Look at that. Victor Cafe.
Victor Cafe. That's wonderful. But Kevin, thank you so much. You pulled out every tool out of the tool bag throughout your life, and you faced some real serious challenges, and you did it. And I
did it.
You should be proud of yourself. Yeah.
There was nothing that I wasn't going to do to just get right. Because like I said, I owed it to myself, my daughter, but mostly, like that scene of Rocky 3, she says, you have to do it for yourself, not me, nobody else, just you and you alone. And I knew that that's the only way I'm going to ever, like, trickles down. If I'm good to me, I'm good to everybody. Yeah. So I treat me like, if I'm bad to me, I'm just, so I had to take care of myself. And like I said, it wouldn't have been without the love I have for my family and for the Rocky that I could just, as like I said, my constants as a childhood,
Yeah.
Wow.
Kevin, I really want to thank you. We're a little Rocky fan podcast, and for you to open up to be so raw about your own struggles, that's we're very grateful for that, because I think people can learn from that. And I'm a big proponent of talking about, as comfortable as someone is, about their past and how they had their highs and lows, and how Rocky's affected them in a very positive way. That's one of the reasons Stacy and I have done this podcast, to give fans a platform to share with other fans. So in that vein, I always end out with two questions. If you could go back and tell your 11-year-old self some bit of advice, what would you tell him?
Keep punching.
Keep punching.
Keep punching.
Beautiful. Beautiful.
That's it. Because there's times I don't think I would have been where I wouldn't have gotten to where I've gotten if I just kept punching. But I let a lot of things beat me down and
reinforced to keep punching, which is great. I love that.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I love that. Okay, you're in a high rise. You're at a big office party. You go to leave, and in the elevator, you see Sylvester Stallone. You got 30 seconds in between floors. What do you say to him?
I would just pretty much just tell him thank you for creating a character that has enabled me to climb through out of the darkness into the light. If it wasn't for his character of Rocky, I might not be where I'm at today. And I owe a lot to that character, because to me that character is just more than a person you see on the screen. It's life. It's a way of life. It's a comfort. It's home. It's something that I can count on, and it's a character that's been there for me when other people weren't. So I would just pretty much tell him thanks for your brilliance.
Yeah, gotcha.
Wow.
Love it.
Beautiful, Kevin. Thank you so much.
Kevin, thank you so much, my friend. This has been really great. I think people are going to love your story. And until we see you again, my friend, keep punching, buddy.
Keep punching.
You guys take care. Thanks for having me.
Thank you, my friend. Take care of yourself.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Oh, what a great guy.
Perfect. The entire point. Here's another one. The entire point of the podcast is this right here, like you said.
Exactly. Yeah. I love that.
And I appreciate him sharing everything like that. Those are hard things to share, but that is one of the most common, drinking, addiction, all those things. Sure. Those are some of the hardest things to get through and hard to share. And just thank you for that, because
very much so.
We all know so many people who have those same struggles. I have that struggle with food. I know. Thank God it's food. Thank God it was food and not alcohol or drugs. I know that's been a challenge of mine always. So I get that. And then just, of course, the whole Rocky Adrian piece, getting it all back together. That's I love that. Just warmed my soul. I just love that. It gives me the warm fuzzy. Yep. So Lauren, I'm going to tell you, sweetheart, go buy those pillows. Go buy the Rocky throw pillows. That'll be a good Christmas.
Starts with the throw pillows. Then it's a blanket. Then it's a shower curtain. Yes. And it adds and it goes and goes and goes. Yes. Stacy, have we missed anything, or are we all caught up for this week's episode?
We got it all down. I don't think we missed anything, unless you're thinking of something that I forgot.
Am actually thinking of something major.
Okay. Let's hear it.
If someone wants to find you, where the hell can they find you?
I'm over on Instagram at Had Me at Yo, as well as the Rocky Files. And I am almost never over on Facebook at the Rocky Files podcast, so don't message me there. Michael, what about you?
You can find me at the Yo Philly Film Tour on Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok, where they hate my guts on TikTok, but it's getting better. I wrote a little book called Cue the Rocky Music. It's not bad. It makes a great stocking stuffer. Check it out where books are sold. And there is a little documentary about my life called The Pretender, The Dream is Real, by a great friend of mine, Jimmy Toscano, and his group, Danny Janino, and a whole bunch of other people that were involved. They're out there in Detroit. Check out The Pretender. Sly is in this with us, and it is phenomenal. It's a great little documentary. It's the little train that could. So check it out. Check it out.
Awesome. Great one.
And I guess I will see you next week.
Have a good evening, darling.
And until then,
keep
punching.
Keep punching.
Bye, buddy.